Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you will not miss a future video.
Welcome to the channel, The Tech Piano Player Kid.
A black background with white text that reads The Tech Piano Player Kid displays on the screen with the same text written to the right in Braille. What is up, everyone? The Tech Piano Player Kid here, and this is before the actual video starts itself. I want to apologize for my volume on my microphone wasn't the best. Like, it was good at the beginning, but then I think I just accidentally bumped the slider on my microphone input, so it got a little bit lower than normal. I readjusted again, and I think I didn't adjust it enough, so you can still hear me, but it's not as loud as it was at the beginning, so I apologize on that. Again, I want to thank Justin Ng for coming in to join in and taking his time to answer my questions, and thank you also for submitting your questions, guys, so your questions can be answered as well. And I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get into it. In today's video, a special guest will be joining me today to answer some questions that my subscribers have sent in about the game of TimeCrest. Some of these questions will include, is TimeCrest 4 being worked on, and when will it be released? How did you come up with the name TimeCrest? And much more. And now, here he is, the co-founder of Sneaky Crab and the developer of TimeCrest, Justin Ng. Well, hello everyone. This is the Tech Piano Player Kid here, and this is the first time I decided to interview someone, so we'll see how this goes. Hopefully my technology doesn't, backfire on me. Anyway, with me, I have a special guest with me today, and he is the co-founder and I would say developer of TimeCrest. And his name is Justin, and I cannot pronounce your last name. I probably blew it in the intro when I recorded it earlier. So thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, my last name, I'm not even sure I know how to say it right myself. I say Justin Ng.
That's how I said it.
My parents say something else, but I grew up here, so this is how I say it. Thank you so much for having me. I really love your channel. I was just listening to you talk to the TimeCrestians, and I just love so much of the content on your channel. I loved hearing y'all give theories about TimeCrest, and I have so much fun. So it's a total honor to be here.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, before we start with the questions, go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself so people can have an idea who you are.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Justin, and I am one of the co-founders of Sneaky Crab. So me, along with my partner Lisa, we started Sneaky Crab together. Before Sneaky Crab, I've always been in technology. I've worked at Google, Microsoft, Facebook before they became Meta. But I really wanted to do something on my own, and working with Lisa, it's been a journey to make Sneaky Crab and TimeCrest, and yeah, that's been it.
Awesome. So I guess we'll start with the 1,000 questions that I got from my subscribers. Okay, that's over exaggerating, but anyway. So let's see, get my handy dandy Braille Note Touch here. So why did you make TimeCrest?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Lisa and I had been working in mobile games together. We actually worked at the same company, StoreMate. It was one of the companies that was very early in making mobile games in the App Store. And if you were looking at the top charts in around 2009, 2010 on the iPhone, you would have seen StoreMate games. And we really cut our teeth there and learned a lot about making mobile games, and really, really enjoyed that experience. And toward the end of our journey there, we realized that a lot of themes in the whole mobile gaming industry, this was not just StoreMate, but like everything was sort of very simple themes and mechanics and ideas. And we really, really wanted to put something out there that had engaging and complex narratives, something that could really touch people emotionally, And we felt like other mediums like books and TV shows and movies had this kind of storytelling, and mobile games didn't have it at the time back in 2015. So we felt like we had to do something there, and that really inspired us to work together and try to make a game like TimeCrest.
Awesome. Um, I guess that comes with the next question. What inspired you to make TimeCrest? TimeCrest. I can't even say it now.
Yeah, and so I guess continuing from that idea, so what were we going to make? We came up with the name TimeCrest pretty early on, and we realized that we wanted to make a fantasy game. So, letting you a little bit in more, Lisa's kind of the creative person. I'm the more the technical person. I mean, we both kind of do everything, but she does most of the writing. So, most of the things that you love about TimeCrest probably comes from her mind. And she loves fantasy stories. She knew that she had to tell a fantasy story, and time travel in particular was really interesting to us. And it fit in with this idea of making an app that would work on the Apple Watch. So at the time in 2015, the Apple Watch was really brand new. And we were very excited to not only make an iPhone game, but to also be on the Apple Watch. And we love this idea of on your Apple Watch, you were talking to someone else on the other side, except since they were in a fantasy world, they were talking through a pocket watch. And then time travel and time magic made a lot of sense when you're thinking about timepieces as kind of the medium in which this magic was going, back and forth, right? So I think that was the start. And then later on, we realized as we did this, okay, we wanted this to be story based. We wanted you to be the main character, and on and on and on. But I think that was kind of the initial inspiration for TimeCrest.
Awesome. Can you tell us? Can you tell us about the development process behind TimeCrest?
Yeah. So, like I just said earlier, Lisa is the heart behind the TimeCrest story. She deserves a lot of the credit for everything you love about TimeCrest. Every day she sits at her computer, just diving into this world, shaping its characters and its plot, and crafting the emotional journey that we know as TimeCrest. My role, at least from the perspective of the story, is a little bit more like an editor or a brainstorming partner. So, when Lisa hits a creative block, she might share her progress with me. It's pretty awesome. I basically have my own personal storyteller. I might suggest ideas. Most of them don't work because I don't really know the whole picture of what she has in her head, but sometimes I do throw out some ideas that make a difference. And especially after she finishes writing chapters or like an entire edition of TimeCrest, I read through every single word, every single path, and I offer feedback. Sometimes, I just might be pointing out unclear emotions, or I might question, why is a character doing certain things? But I'd say most of the time I'm just overwhelmed by the story's impact, and I wonder if I can even offer feedback to her through all the emotions that I'm feeling. She's really really good at what she does. Besides all of that, I handle most of the coding and lately the marketing. We also have beta readers who play a crucial role in testing both the story and the app. And I hope all of this puts together to make just an incredible experience when people enjoy TimeCrest.
Yeah, and jumping into this real quick before the next question, if you guys ever want to
Mhm.
play TimeCrest, I will include a link down below in the description of the video and stuff like this. But I'm gonna give you a heads up. There are a bunch of surprises that will be like, "Whoa, okay, I did not expect that," kind of thing. Because when I played it, I was like, I didn't want that to happen, but okay.
What was something that is there any surprise in particular that really sticks in your mind?
I think, okay, spoiler alert. I think the part where, well, not surprises and just confusion, I think, because when Ash goes to the house in Wispy Brook,
Mhm.
I expected Ash's friends, and I don't know if it's Ash as a he or a she. A lot of people have asked me this, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I think that's where you guys kind of told us that's kind of, what do you think? And I think Ash is a he, just because the way
Then for
Ash
you, Ash
acts.
is a he.
I think just the way Ash acts, because just the way Ash is acting. And again, I could be wrong. I don't know. But, it could also be a she. I mean, I think that's one thing. But anyway, point being is that I think just a lot of things that I just didn't expect where Ash's friends left Ash when during the time when Ash was trying to do something and they left Ash. But I think there's a lot of reasons on why that happened because, maybe something, maybe was it someone that Ash couldn't see? Was someone, forcing them to leave or, there's a lot of questions that I just have and I'm just like, maybe they'll be answered in another TimeCrest game.
Yeah, you bring up a really good scene. I think in Wispy Brook, Ash's journey has culminated from kind of being solitary. All of TimeCrest 1, uh, Ash only has you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think especially if you read the rewrite, Fulgur and Patora play a big role, I guess, in Ash's experience of TimeCrest 1, but they're not really close to Ash. They're not really friends. And TimeCrest 2 is this journey of meeting these people, Team 13, and they all play kind of a different role. They all have different perspectives, and you really feel close to them by the end of TimeCrest 2. And so it's interesting how when Ash finally has to face, spoiler alert, face the door, um,
Yeah. And I don't know.
all of these people have kind of been pulled away, and Ash is once again alone, except with you and with Kronos and everyone else.
Yeah, and I remember the first time when I heard the door, like I don't know why, but I got this uneasy feeling, and it's like I don't know, just the way it sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, should I say
The door.
so?
Ooh.
But yeah, there's just a lot of things that just you know, you probably will figure out the answers in a later update of TimeCrest. Speaking of which, what
Mhm.
challenges did you face during the development of TimeCrest, and how did you overcome those?
Yeah, we decided that in TimeCrest, you are the main character. And this choice is insane when you think about it, because when you can say whatever you want to Ash and Luther, it takes away a lot of our ability as writers to create suspense and intrigue. What if
Yeah.
you want to say something that's super inconvenient in the scene? Like, what if the pacing is that we want to jump into some action? Luther is about to say, like air, but then as a counterpart, you're just like, hey, can you stop and tell me about Petora's hair? That's kind of inconvenient sometimes in pacing. But
Yeah.
we felt like this choice was worth it because you feel like you can be yourself and you have the freedom, I mean, to either help or troll the characters, but the more emotionally connected and involved you are, the better the story is. At least that's what we thought. And so there are a lot of sacrifices we make, and there's a lot of difficulty in writing the story with this kind of a restriction, but the end impact is really worth it because I hope that you agree it makes you feel more emotionally connected to the characters and really feel like you genuinely are a part of this rather than someone just reading a book and you're not really a part of it. I'd say that's the primary one. I'd say also growing our audience is difficult. I think we have a lot of amazing and loyal fans for TimeCrest, but we've been working hard on marketing TimeCrest, which is probably why you've heard me on a ton of recent podcast interviews. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. And I hope that more people find out about TimeCrest.
Yeah, and I'm just saying this, audiences who are watching my channel who are under 13, and I'm saying like maybe, I don't know, 10 to 12 or whatever, please make sure you get permission from your parents before playing this because it has some very um intense moments. Just saying because I know some parents probably are monitoring their kids what games they play, and I get that. But Timecraft, I think, is one of those things like it's not. It does have some, I guess you call them scare jumps sometimes.
Yeah.
Just
You know,
no sound effects, just and the music can be a little bit creepy at times, especially when it plays when the fires happen. Spoiler alert, happens during in Timecraft 2 when uh which I have no idea who it is, but I'm not gonna say who, caused those fires, and you'll hear the scary music, which I remember the music before the music was recreated. that I think the music before, some of it was a lot scarier than the new one, but then again, there's some ones that are a lot scarier than in the new one that's not as in the old one.
You bring up a really good point. I have a really young daughter. She's a toddler right now, so um, luckily most of the content she consumes are like things like Bluey and
Yeah.
Sesame Street and stuff like that. But I do also cute.
Um,
But I think about, in the future, what are we gonna do about content that she experiences? And I hope to at least give her good stories. I think it's up to each parent what they think is good content for their kids, but all I can offer is that Timecrest is a story that I would be willing to let my daughter read in the future because look, life is a complicated, we live in a complicated world. Good things and bad things happen. And I think what TimeCrest offers is it allows you to see that everyone has a lot of different perspectives. And it's as convenient as it is to cast human beings as just good and evil. I think the reality is that everyone is complicated, right? Like Luther's story is very complicated. Is he a hero? Is he a villain? And I think that nuance is what we can give to people. And I think it's something that's really interesting and formative. If you're young, yes, there are scary moments, and you should definitely talk to your parents about if that's something that you should be experiencing at that time. But if you do, I think we treat the subject matter in such a way that you'll come away with it learning a little bit about life in the world, and we hope we can give you a slice of that.
what was the longest part of the development process of Timecrest?
Yeah, I think it has to be the story. That's always been the hardest part.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy to write the app and to code it, but like that was nothing compared to the story. Writing a single scene is easy, but writing a scene that is emotionally engaging, it's not cheesy, it's not cringy, that's incredibly hard. I think chapter 13 alone took maybe over a year to write. I think
I wouldn't be
each pass may
surprised.
have as many words as TimeCrest 2. Yeah, exactly.
I think, what was it? Timecrest, was it chapter, I forget what it was. It was part 7, or I think it was part 7 of my video of Timecrest. I think it was chapter 13 or whatever, but it took like 7 parts just to finish the whole thing because it was so long.
13 is the long one. So chapter 14 and 15 are relatively short in
Yeah,
comparison.
I think 13 was the longest.
Well, and then there's, two major paths, each path just as long as each other.
Oh yeah, and people think it made, I took, spoiler alert, the Riley path, and then the with uh AC path, with AC, and someone ends up, spoiler alert, dying. I'm not gonna say who, but you probably can guess from what I said from the path names. But well, with the AC path, it doesn't matter because you actually work with more than one person. Actually, you're with more than 2 people. But it's just, it's crazy. Like you just think, okay, if I take this path, no one's gonna die, and then you're like, oh wait, never mind.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to write a story that has deaths that matter, that are important, that move the story forward, that make the characters reflect and think and have real meaning. I think that there's a lot of stories where characters just die and it doesn't mean anything. And, you may have realized that sometimes a character will die regardless of what paths you pick. And um, I, I think that was an explicit decision we made. I think it's just a reality of life that we may think the grass is greener. We make all sorts of choices in our real lives, and we may think the grass is greener on the other side. But it turns out that every choice we make, there's complexity. There's good and bad in both paths, and we may think the other one will be better, but like you just get a different thing. And so I think a lot of life is living with the choices that we've made, and I feel like TimeCrest reflects that.
Yeah, I agree. As I said, my preacher quotes, has said, quote, it's not always cupcakes and rainbows. And he's right. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, but the question is, the point is, and how do you get through it? How do you handle it and get through it maturely? I think is the word.
Mm-hmm.
What sets Timecrest apart from other similar games in the market?
Yeah, I think that where I want to really focus in on is what I said before, that we really wanted you to be the main character of this game. We wanted it, and that's difficult. That's unique. That's something that I think that you're kind of a part of similar games, but not to this level. We wanted there to be a deep emotional impact. I mean, a lot of other games. There are other games where you make choices and talk to a character. We really felt. I think they're awesome games. Like, let me just say that right now. I'm not saying anything bad about any of those games. I think that they're incredible, and I encourage people to try them out. But the perspective of what we wanted to do differently is we didn't like how they were short and they were just kind of a survival game. You almost had to memorize the paths that didn't get you to die in order to experience the whole story. We wanted you to be a part of it and influence the world as a real person, and we didn't want any choice to be the wrong one. We want that to reflect life. We wanted to give you a good story no matter what choice you made. And we didn't want you to just there are some games where you're almost like a god. You make a choice, and then like 1,000 years of history change with your one choice, and that felt too open and abstract, right? And then there are other games where the character is basically your slave. Like that character might as well just be you in the world, and that's not what we wanted either. We wanted the characters that you were talking to be real people as well, and to have feelings and to have a feeling about what they thought about you based on what you were saying. And so we felt like with all of that, we would have something really special, and I think we did make something special.
I agree.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What feedback have you received from users, and how has it influenced the app's development?
Yeah, I have to start with the how incredible the blind community has been for us. We have been getting accessibility feedback from since day one. I mean, the fact that we focused on accessibility in the first place was from feedback from blind users. With the community has been really clear and pointed on how we can improve. And honestly, we won the Apple Viz Golden Apples twice. We were inducted to the Apple Viz Hall of Fame, and I think that that was primarily because of all the users' feedback. It was easy. We just sort of listened to what you all said and put that into the game. Um, Beyond that, I think I should mention, there's a fan Discord server that Kai and Brel Bennett run, and it's very active. We're on there, and I love reading all the discussions and theories. I get a lot of bug reports and spelling and grammar feedback, and we work really hard to work all of this stuff into TimeCrest.
And I also should mention, guys, there's also a TimeCrest fan page or group that I made on my Facebook page. Feel free to join. You don't have to ask. Feel free to join. I do monitor the comments in there, and I probably add another moderator for that, because then that might help me take off some of the the lift off of it a little bit there. So I'll have to find some moderators there.
And I'm on there too. So if you want to be able to reach me as well, I'm happy to answer any questions people may have.
Yeah, I mean, feel free. I mean, you don't have to use just Discord. And if you use Facebook, again, just feel free to join. It's under my channel name. You can post your questions anonymously if you want to, which only the admins will see your name, no one else. But other than that, I mean, you feel free to join. You don't have to ask. That's what the groups are there for. How do you balance user feedback with your vision for the app?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you're right. Sometimes this can be a real tension. Sometimes what people ask for and what we intend for TimeCrest can go in different ways. The way we approach it is we start by just holding core to our vision of TimeCrest. We have a very strong point of view and idea of where we want the story and this world to go. And we use user feedback just to see if TimeCrest is actually landing emotionally like we want. And if we miss the mark, we'll just keep on working on and iterating until it seems like what we imagine our vision is going to be received by people the way we want it, right? So I want to take a moment to reference, there's a really good book that Stephen King wrote. It's called On Writing, and he brings up this idea that a story is told twice. The first time is when it's written, and the second time is once it's read. And so there's this like collaboration between the writer and the reader. When a writer is writing a story, we're offering a version of the story that's shaped by our own perceptions, experiences, and style. But the story comes to life in a really different way when someone reads it because they're bringing their own perceptions, experiences, and imagination. And so, you bring your own interpretations and experiences and imagination into that narrative. And this whole thing is really interesting because it's even more thematic when you realize, like, okay, TimeCrest is this interactive storytelling thing. Not just is this reader-writed thing happening like when you read a novel, but like the characters are actually talking to you and you're actually talking to the characters. So there's like an even like a secondary level of this like reader-writer interaction idea. So anyway, like coming back from all of that, I think we just sort of keep all of this in the top of our mind, and that's how we balance our vision with sort of user feedback.
Awesome. All right, this next one is kind of a two-part question, and you'll see why, because it's both to the characters. So the first one is what are your options on some of the characters and their personalities?
Yeah, I think that the characters in TimeCrest are designed to be complex and multifaceted. We really want to mirror how people are in real life. I think that really good writers are really good sort of people theorists. And so we tried to develop each character with their own background, motivations, emotional depth. Even side characters, even the characters that you only meet a few times, we try to think about who are they, what do they want, and so on. And we think this allows you as the counterpart to form genuine connections with the characters. We wanted them to feel alive with their reactions and feelings sort of influenced by how the players interact with them. I think this approach to character development ensures that your choices will have a meaningful impact and foster a deeper engagement with the story and the people in Valencia. If I may talk specifically, I think that Luther in particular was a very interesting character for us to write. Luther is interesting because depending on where you are in the story, you could perceive him to be a villain, a hero. He represents what we aim for in the storytelling. We have this belief that there typically isn't absolute good or evil. Most people just have different perspective, have different challenges. And I think Luther represents a lot of ideas we have around exploring, selfishness, selflessness. Freedom is a big theme in TimeCrest 3.
The next one is something I just came up with because I'm just generally curious. How did you come up with the name of the characters, like Luthor or Riley or what's the other one? Kronos. I think I'm saying his name right. Or just any of the names. Like, how did you come up with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that Lisa comes up with all the names. I don't think I've come up with I think the only name that I came up with was Alvin, right? I think I came up with sort of the story of Alvin's name and how it relates to the name of the world, Alencia, right? So I won't go any deeper into that for spoilers, but like I think for the most part, most of the character names were from Lisa, and I think she just sort of it's very intuitive. I think she just tries them out and tries to see what feels right to her. I mean, obviously, like some of the names like Kronos, there's like this feeling of time involved in it, like with the word chrono. And so there's a few instances of that, but like for the most part, I think the names are just very intuitively figured out by Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell that a lot of those, especially the spell names and just some of the names, I can tell I don't know why, but I can tell they're Latin based. I could be wrong.
Mhm. Yep, there are definitely some Latin influences in
And,
some of the naming.
and obviously, I mean, I never took Latin because obviously it's not a requirement today. But anyway, can you share any interesting anecdotes or stories from your journey as a developer of TimeCrest?
Yeah, I have a few. It depends on how much time you have. I think I
I
can
mean, I
tell
have
you
a
a
lot
few
of time
stories.
actually. I mean, I have
Um,
to set to all the way to 6:30, so
okay,
just in
well,
case.
we'll see we'll see what we could do. Okay, so I the first one I wanted to talk about is the Toby theory. So, do you know there's a character in TimeCrest named Toby?
I'm sure I've came across it. I just don't remember it now.
Well, so we had a beta reader who said, "Hey, so in the scene where Toby says that, oh, they can see your that Ash's pocket watch is all shiny and glittery. Like, does that mean that Toby can see what you're saying? Is Toby like another person who can communicate with the pocket watch?" And we were like, "Oh crap! First of all, who's Toby?" And secondly, no, the whoever Toby is shouldn't be able to see what's on the pocket watch. So we quickly skimmed the story and tried to figure out what was going on. So Toby is a kid that's there if you first go to Blood Moon Haven in TimeCrest 2. And
Oh wait, isn't he the one that's the one who gave you the piece of bread?
that could be right. Yeah.
Yep,
You
yep,
see,
yep, yep, yep.
that's a detail that sounds right, but it's been a while since I've read that
Okay.
part. And so there's Toby, and Toby's there, and Toby is remarking about the pocket watch. And the original intention for that scene was just that Toby thinks it's cool and shiny, right? And that's it. But like somebody had some feedback saying, "Oh, like is this means that this must be someone really important if they can see what you're saying on the pocket watch." And so we actually ended up rewording that scene to make it a little bit less seem like we're intending for a random mystery to come out of that one. Because I'll be honest, we had forgotten who Toby was at that point,
Oh, yeah.
um,
Oops.
and I think another anecdote that I could tell you is that um, one of the things we really got wrong is that we thought that TimeCrest 3 and Luther's story would just be a mini story. We thought maybe we could tell a story in like 2 chapters and it'd just be like this tiny mini story so you could learn a little bit more about Luther's background, and then we'd get that out, and then we move on to TimeCrest 4, and um that was the plan, right? But then as we delved into Luther's story, we were like, well, actually this is a core story of TimeCrest. We need a lot more words to tell it. Luther's journey is so critical to understanding the answers to many mysteries to the world, to so many things that happen, and just that Luther's story is interesting, right?
It
And
really is. I mean, if you guys read about Town Crest Fury, I mean, you can see why Luther is who he is.
mhm. And so what we thought were just a couple of chapters became 5 full chapters. As we said before, like chapter 13 ended up being, I think I haven't checked this in a while, but I think it's like twice as long as all of TimeCrest 2, like just chapter 13. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Because
And
I was like, I
mhm.
should be done by now. And then I was like, you know what, guys? I have to do this in like several parts. It might take 3 or 4. Nope, it took 7.
Yeah, and that's what it took, right? Because, spoiler alert, like I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens in chapter 13. Um, Especially if you take the Riley path in chapter 13, Luther lives out this whole other life. And it
He
was
does.
important that you feel that whole life, because where it ends up, the choice that Luther makes at the end, you have to have lived that whole life to understand that choice. And so, a few months, we thought somehow we thought we could tell TimeCrest 3 in a few months. It became years. It took years to write TimeCrest 3. But we were super proud of where it ended up. Um,
Yeah, I mean, just writing a whole, people think, oh, it takes like a couple of months to write the part of a game. It could take months, even years, just like years to write that.
yeah, I don't even know how we did. I mean, and how Lisa did it. She faced the brunt of the work there. And I'll give you, I think, one more anecdote. So Lisa and I had a big fight around the ending of TimeCrest 3.
Oh,
So yeah, I kind of remember it. So she had just finished writing the ending and she was pretty excited about it. I mean, obviously it just like we said, it took years to get to this point. She was really excited about how the scene played out. And so she told me about it, and it was different from what I had envisioned because we had sort of talked about what how we were thinking about the ending of Time Crush 3, right? And so I wanted a scene that kind of played out in real time. I kind of imagined how cool it would be if the ending was basically the events of chapter 3. In chapter 3, Ash goes back in time and then sees Luther. I thought it'd be really cool. I thought there'd be a really cool novelty to see at the very end the exact same scene, but from Luther's point of view, seeing multiple perspectives. And I love the idea of learning more on how each character perceives it, right?
Yeah.
And she explained that she had done it a different way. She did it from Riley's point of view. We were super passionate, and that led to a heated debate. And I mean, after we argued about it, we had to cool off and time out. I think there were, for like, there was like a good hour or two. We didn't talk to each other because we were just so heated. But in that time, I read the section. I read what she wrote. I went in and I read the whole thing. And look, in the end, I 100% admitted I was wrong. The way she did it was so much more emotional. The impact of it, I won't go into the details, but just everything Riley was doing and everything that happens there, it had me in tears. I was crying as I read it, and I really learned to trust her writing sense that day. And I'm so glad in the end we didn't go my way, because like I think there's some cool ideas in my way, but I realize now when I play it out in my head, it's just not as emotional. I think it's not as emotional as the scene that she put it. If I wrote the scene, I wouldn't have been in tears the same way I was when I read her scene.
Yeah. And I'm going to be, just give you a heads up, guys. There are some scenes that you will cry. I did in a video, and I forgot I did because I was not expecting something to happen to Riley. I'm not going to say, well, okay, to what? Because I haven't played that yet. Same thing with AC, or just one of the team members in AC. Spoiler alert again. And I think, yeah, that was the part where I was crying because it was like, oof. But
Yeah.
could we bring Riley back to life? I don't. Well, okay. Spoiler alert. Was it? I forget who it was. I think it was Ignis or Ezra. I forget who it was. But spoiler alert that there could be a way, but it could take a. It takes a. It will cost a bunch of consequences. But will that happen? To get Riley back to life or one of Ash's friends? I don't know. I have my own theories on that, but that's something that we'll have to find out.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that you enjoy whatever happens next.
Yep. When you were creating the game of TimeCrest, did you or any other staff member that helped with the game have any other names besides TimeCrest? And if so, what were they?
Yeah, I had to really think back because this was like 8 years ago for this, but I actually think TimeCrest, the name TimeCrest, came to Lisa before even most of the world, the characters, or even the plot ideas came to be. I think at least in her process, like a single picture or an idea or just some words are often inspiring enough to crack open sort of her mental portal to a new world that she would want to write about. I, I also think if I remember correctly, the title "The Door" for TimeCrest 2 came very early as well. I mean, similarly, I think even before TimeCrest 3 was done, we knew the title for TimeCrest 4, which I will not be revealing today, but like I think that
Oh, darn, I thought you were going
the
to say it.
but yeah, I guess it's just interesting how reflecting on it in our process these 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 ideas just come to us, and I think a lot comes out of that.
What advice would you give to aspiring developers looking to create their own apps?
Yeah, I think that it's hard because every person's situation, everything they want to do is so different, and I think that the devil's in the details, right? But
Yeah.
I'd say if I need to give sort of broad advice, it's to don't give up, keep iterating, and keep reflecting on what you've done. So you're not going to make the perfect app, the perfect story at the beginning, And it doesn't matter, right? Like if you look at the very first video of your favorite YouTubers, they're usually unpolished messes of videos, right? Like
Same with
Mr.
me. Like,
Beast.
I messed up a lot, and I didn't know how to edit and anything. I didn't have the perfect audio equipment. And now
Yeah.
today it's like there's no background noise. Do I have soundproofing? No, but I have other equipment that helps with that.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, and you've come so far, right? And I was gonna say, look at, Mr. Beast, who is he's like insanely successful as a YouTuber, spending who knows how many millions of dollars per video. His first videos were just sort of a mess. It looks like a kid filming with a webcam, right? And that because that's literally what it was, right? The only way to make something truly awesome is to keep working and iterating, reflecting on how you can improve, because that's how you get better. And a lot of people get stuck because they're not happy with what they make at first, and then they don't want to go on, right? But it's like, just keep shipping, keep putting out what you've got, and do the hard work of reflecting on what you could do better. Just do one thing better every single time. I think that TimeCrest 1 and 2, we were proud of what we made, but TimeCrest 3 was when we were truly like, wow, like maybe we actually can write a story for the ages. It took so many years of learning and iterating and improving writing. And look, like Lisa had been writing all her life. Like it's not like TimeCrest 1 was the first time she put pen to paper. But TimeCrest 3, many, many years later into that journey, was when we were like, wow, okay, uh, this is something really special. And it took so many years of learning to get there.
It's amazing, like what you can do when you're a writer. It can come to a good career.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a very tough career, but I think that as with anything, just keep sticking to it and keep iterating, keep trying, and I think there's a good chance.
How do you envision TimeCrest evolving in the future?
Well, I mean, the door's open or not, depending on what you picked. And there's Kronos and Ash and Ignis. There's a lot of story left to tell. And we really want more people to know about TimeCrest. I believe that most people who would love TimeCrest haven't read it yet. And so, with the community's help, if you're listening to this right now, I'd love everyone to know about TimeCrest. I think that the most important thing for TimeCrest's success, to get all of the story out there and to get all of the endings and find out what's happening to everyone, is we just need more and more people to get into TimeCrest. So, I think if you love TimeCrest, tell somebody you know about TimeCrest. If you love TimeCrest, just let us know what you want in TimeCrest. Keep giving us feedback, keep bringing more people in, and we'll do our best to make TimeCrest everything you want.
Yeah. Are there any upcoming features or updates for TimeCrest that you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, I typically don't like to make announcements before they're ready, so I'll throw out a couple of things that I think would be cool, but take what I say as a wish list, right? So don't hold me to delivering anything I say here, but I'd love to have more memory oracles. I think there are a lot of stories that need to be told that aren't necessarily from, let's say Ash or Luther's point of view. Um, I'd also love to be on Android, because a lot of people keep sort of bringing up that they want TimeCrest to be on Android. That's really difficult because that's essentially making a new app from scratch. But I think the more and more people support us, the more and more people adopt TimeCrest, maybe we can make some of these things come true.
Yeah. All right. Here's the big question that I've gotten a lot. When will TimeCrest 4 be released, or is there any news or updates with TimeCrest 4 being worked on?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you the really unsatisfying answer. We've not made any announcements on TimeCrest 4, but we hear you. We know people are really excited for TimeCrest 4, and we get questions all the time, and we hear you. We know that you want TimeCrest 4, and you wish that TimeCrest 4 was out yesterday. Uh, we hear you. We get it. All I can say is be sure to stay tuned to our socials when we'll have something to say. We'll make sure you don't miss it. And no, we are working hard. We are working hard, and I won't tell you what it is we're working on, and I won't tell you any details about that, but just know that we're not resting. And I know that as I say this, Lisa is upstairs right now, real stress typing words into a document, and I
Oh, you're
can't
working from
wait
home.
to give feedback of that. Yep, this is how we do it uh, for this kind of a game.
That's it's a family owned business, I guess you could say.
That's right. Yeah. So, Lisa and I are also married. We have a kid together, and we make TimeCrest. So we're trying to make multiple masterpieces at once.
Awesome. I guess here's a question that I'll throw in here just in case people, in case people want to do this.
Please. I mean, I'm here as long as we can
Yeah.
talk about whatever you want. I'm here as
there
long
any-
as you'd like to keep me.
Uh, are there going to be any ways of like players to test out TimeCrest or like any new updates or like beta updates and say, hey, this needs to be fixed or this is not accessible or something like that? Just like I guess newer versions, like beta updates.
Yeah, great question. So we actually have a pool of beta readers right now where when we have new stories or new app updates, we go to those. And right now we're not looking to open up the program yet, but in the future we might. So if you're interested in being a part of the beta program, just send a support email and let us know. We'll probably say no, it's not open right now, but if you're interested, it doesn't hurt to put it in. So if we are looking to expand the program in the future, then we'll have a pool of people who are interested that we can call upon. And then in the meantime, I know it's not sort of getting access to things early, but lots of people give bug reports and feedback on the fan Discord. So please post there or contact us through support if you have some feedback in that way.
Okay, I think that's all my questions. So I'll go and pause the recording here.
First, can I just thank you once again for having me on? I really appreciate the time. I think you asking the community for questions that we could talk about really worked out because I think we covered a lot of ground that we weren't able to cover in a lot of the other podcast interviews that I've done. I was able to share a lot of cool anecdotes about things that I haven't been able to talk about, right? So I just wanted to thank you because I mean, first of all, it's an honor once again to be on your channel. I like it. I love listening to the content. I love listening to your playthroughs of TimeCrest, and I think that we've put together some pretty interesting answers here. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. So that's it for today's video. If you guys have any more questions, please put them down in the comments below, or you may send them to info@TheTechPianoPlayerKid.com. You can also give me a text at 913-312-1325. And if you do not live in the United States, you can text me through WhatsApp and give me a call there as well. I also have a toll-free number that you can use to give me a call at 877-318-8775. Please also follow me and like my Facebook page, The Tech Piano Player Kid, and follow me on Twitter, tech_piano. And you can also join my discussion forum on my website where you can ask questions about technology and help to answer questions about technology for the blind and stuff like this by going to TheTechPianoPlayerKid.com and clicking on the discussion board page underneath the navigation bar menu where you can register for a free account and help to answer questions and ask questions if need to be. Please make sure that you get permission from your parents if you still need to do so before making an account, just to make sure that you're on the safe side and that you don't want to get in trouble because we don't want that to happen. And you can also subscribe to my monthly newsletter if you wish by going to my website, TheTechPianoPlayerKid.com. Again, if need to be, get permission from your parents just to be on the safe side. And you can unsubscribe at any time if you wish, and you have any trouble with unsubscribing or creating an account or deleting your account, please let me know, and I will do my best to help you out. Anyway, that's it for today's video. God bless you all, and peace. The Tech Piano Player Kid is out. Thank you for watching today's video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and leave a comment down below. For questions, please send an email to info@TheTechPianoPlayerKid.com. You can also give a call or text at 913-312-1325. And don't forget to like my Facebook page, The Tech Piano Player Kid, and follow me on Twitter, tech_piano. Black background with white text that reads The Tech Piano Player Kid displays on the screen with the same text written to the right in Braille, then fades to black.